This is the limit of our modern power. The greatest machines we can build can lift 20 tons. 4,500 years ago, without steel, without wheels, without modern machines, they moved blocks weighing 50 tons. The effort was monumental, pure, raw, human power. They did not move one block. They moved 2.3 million of them. To build a structure so massive, it would remain the tallest thing on Earth for over 3,800 years. It is the greatest engineering feat in human history. And to this day, no one is entirely sure how they did it. How? If you are ready to help solve the greatest architectural mystery of all time, subscribe now. The construction begins. Before a single stone was moved, there was a vision. The vision of a god-king Pharaoh Khufu, who did not just want a tomb, he wanted a stairway to the heavens, a machine for resurrection. His architects, led by the brilliant Hemunu, designed a structure of impossible precision, a monument whose shafts would align with the stars, guiding the pharaoh's soul on its journey into eternity. It was more than a building. It was a declaration of power, a testament to a civilization that believed it could command both the earth and the heavens. The planning was meticulous. On the Giza Plateau, an army of surveyors created a base so perfectly level it varies by less than an inch. And they aligned it to true north with a precision that baffles modern engineers. The blueprint of eternity was drawn not on papyrus, but on the earth itself. To build a mountain of stone, you must first quarry a mountain of stone at Giza. Tens of thousands of workers began to cut the 2.3 million limestone blocks that would form the pyramid's core. Their technique was simple but brutally effective. Wooden wedges soaked in water, expanding to split the rock with unstoppable natural force. But for the heart of the pyramid, for the king's chamber, a stronger stone was needed. Granite hauled from a quarry 500 miles to the south. Colossal blocks weighing as much as a modern locomotive were loaded onto massive barges during the annual Nile flood. It was a logistical miracle. A flotilla of stone floating down the Nile, a testament to the incredible organizational power of the Old Kingdom. The raw materials were now in place. An entire mountain disassembled and moved, ready to be reborn. But who were the people who performed this impossible labor? For centuries, the world believed they were slaves. That is a myth. Archaeology has unearthed a lost city near the pyramids, a bustling metropolis with bakeries capable of producing thousands of loaves of bread a day. Evidence shows the workers were well fed with rations of bread, beer, and meat. This was not a slave army, it was a professional, conscripted workforce. They received the best medical care of their time, their broken bones set with a skill that shows they were highly valued. And when they died, they were buried with honor in tombs near their pharaoh's pyramid. They were not slaves. They were Egyptians building a monument for their god, their king, and their nation. And so, with the plan in place and the workforce assembled, the first foundation stone was laid. The eighth wonder of the world had begun. So, the foundation was laid. But how do you lift millions of blocks, some weighing as much as a locomotive, to the height of a 40-story building? For centuries, the most common theory was a single, massive external ramp, a brute force solution to a monumental problem. But this theory has a fatal flaw. As the pyramid grew higher, the ramp would need to become longer, steeper, and eventually, it would require more material and more labor than the pyramid itself, an impossible, inefficient waste. The ancient Egyptians were masters of efficiency. Their architects would have known there had to be a smarter way. The giant external ramp is a myth. The real solution is far more elegant. It has been hiding in plain sight. Modern architects and Egyptologists now believe the secret lies not outside the pyramid, but within. An internal, spiraling ramp. The theory is brilliant in its simplicity. After the base was built with a short external ramp, construction moved to the inside. Workers would have hauled the stones up through a narrow, hidden corridor, a highway inside the pyramid itself. Small gaps, still visible today at the pyramid's corners, would have acted as turning points, allowing them to pivot the massive blocks. It was the perfect solution. A ramp that grew with the pyramid, using the structure's own strength to build itself, and leaving almost no waste behind. The genius of the Great Pyramid was not just its size, but its secret, hidden efficiency. Using these techniques, they accomplished the impossible, placing 70-ton granite beams over the king's chamber with a precision of millimeters. After 20 years of labor, the main body of the pyramid was complete. A giant, tiered mountain of stone, a man-made wonder. But the final stage was one of pure artistry. From the top down, the pyramid was encased in a shell of brilliant, white, polished limestone. Slowly, the rough, tiered structure disappeared, replaced by a perfect, gleaming, otherworldly shape. The casing stones were fitted with a skill that has never been surpassed. A monument not just to power, but to perfection. The great wonder was nearly complete. A brilliant white jewel in the desert, waiting only for its final, crowning glory. After 20 years of relentless labor, only one piece remained: the pyramidion, the sacred capstone. It was carved from a single block of the finest granite and encased in electrum, a shining mixture of gold and silver. The final stone was transported with the reverence of a holy relic, a piece of the sun brought down to earth. All of Egypt watched as it made its final journey to the Giza plateau. Then began the final, most treacherous ascent, hauling the sacred stone up the steep, gleaming white sides of the completed pyramid. And then, perfection. The final stone was set in place, completing the perfect geometric form. The great work was done. At the next dawn, the golden capstone caught the first rays of the sun, reflecting its divine light, a beacon visible for miles around. Pharaoh Khufu and his entire kingdom gathered to witness the consecration. The high priests performed the opening of the mouth ceremony not on a statue, but on the pyramid itself, symbolically giving life to the colossal structure. In their beliefs, the pyramid was now active, a spiritual machine, a stairway to the heavens, perfectly aligned to launch the pharaoh's soul to the stars. A man-made mountain shining like a star on the surface of the earth. Khufu looked upon his finished masterpiece. He had not just built a tomb, he had built a machine to conquer death itself. Years later, having outlived many of his own children, the great Pharaoh Khufu finally died. His body, mummified and encased in a golden sarcophagus, made its final journey across the Nile in a grand, solemn funeral procession. He was carried into the heart of his mountain, up the grand gallery to the chamber that had waited for him for decades. The sarcophagus was placed in its final resting spot, in the very center of 6 million tons of stone. And then, the final act. The entrance was sealed with massive, impenetrable granite plugs, closing the pyramid to the world of the living. For the next 4,500 years, the Great Pyramid would stand, a silent, sealed, and mysterious monument, its secrets locked away, waiting to be rediscovered. For 3,000 years, the pyramid stood, its white casing stones gleaming. But time is relentless. Later pharaohs and caliphs stripped it of its beautiful skin to build their own cities, leaving behind the rough core we see today. In the 9th century, Caliph Alman, driven by tales of hidden knowledge and immense treasure, decided to force his way in. With brute force, his men smashed a tunnel into the heart of the ancient structure, a scar that remains to this day. They crawled through the dark, silent passages, their torches illuminating the incredible engineering of the ancients. But when they finally reached the king's chamber, they found only an empty, lidless granite box. The treasure and the pharaoh's body were gone. They had broken into the house of a god, but its greatest secrets remained beyond their grasp. 1,000 years later, a new kind of explorer arrived. The Egyptologists, part scientist, part adventurer. They squeezed through its claustrophobic passages, and marveled at the architectural perfection of the Grand Gallery, a cathedral of stone hidden in the pyramid's heart. They were the first to truly map and measure the interior, documenting every inch of the impossible structure. They discovered the mysterious shafts pointing from the chambers towards the stars, aligning with constellations of deep religious significance. But even with all their data, the central question remained unanswered. How was it built, and were there still hidden rooms? In our own time, we have returned to the pyramid with a new kind of sight. Using cosmic rays, particles that rain down from space, a team of international scientists began to scan the pyramid to see through solid stone. This technology, muon tomography, allowed them to create a 3D X-ray of the ancient wonder. And as the data slowly built a picture of the interior, it revealed something impossible: a massive hidden void, a secret chamber, as long as a passenger jet lurking undiscovered above the Grand Gallery. After 4,500 years, with all our modern technology, we have discovered that we know almost nothing. The Great Pyramid has not yet revealed all its secrets. The mystery endures.